Welcome back to Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for Moon Knight Episode 3, titled The Friendly Type, with Mark in the forefront and Harrow ahead. Mark and Layla navigate Cairo for intel. That's the description of the actual episode, though we all seen it. That is my assumption. What do you think of it's not summing up every single moment and giving you just kind of a reaction to the big moments and the things that stand out to me? Before you give us a great rating or a bad one wherever you listen, consider emailing MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com with your feedback, theories, and anything else you might want to send. Not anything else. Creatively and personally, that is my best way to give you a personal experience opposed to anything else you might listen to. You're getting me honestly, wholly, and truthfully, whether that be me being clueless about something in an episode and I'm not talking, that I'm missing, or, just making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but I think one of the greatest things I ever started was this podcast, and it brings me up so high. So if I could share that with anyone, even a few of you, and you enjoy it, thank you for being here. Your presence is known, it's felt, and it's welcomed. And I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. We're 1 week away from Christmas. Are you shopping? Are you just kicking it back this year? You're like, not gonna buy no presents. Honestly, as someone who's working on a budget, that's close to that. You got to get creative. But anyway, we're not here for holiday talk. We're here for Moon Knight. And this was a decent episode. We're going to call it a filler episode. It felt more like a little mini adventure-sode. We got to know Layla a little bit better. Last week, Steven reluctantly embraced being Mr. Knight. That is, his persona of Moon Knight in the suit. Harrow's cult was tightening its grip, and Mark taking the reins to stop Harrow before it's too late. A beat that I didn't touch upon in my last episode. I don't believe I said Mark wakes up and he's in Egypt. So I'm thinking, how long has Steven been in the shadows? And it's kind of cool what they do this episode. They do some nods to a few things in the first episode. I just got to say, I really like the beginning of the episode when it's Mark, not even in Moon Knight outfit. I don't know if it's been said already, if I missed it, but is he only ever able to change into Moon Knight during the nighttime? I don't think so, but I actually don't know. I don't know if it was brought up. If it was, I missed it. Please let me know. But I kind of like how, I was like, why is he in a suit? Well, the only reason I can think of is maybe he can only use it when the moon's out or something like that. But all the same, it's a really cool chase sequence. We get to see Mark in action, show that he's very much a fighter in general without the suit. We've yet to see Steven pull off really any fighting move, but I really like his suit and how it looks. We get to see it for a brief second in this episode. This episode definitely starts to explore the shifting relationship of Mark and Steven. And like I told you, it mirrors the first episode in a sense. Mark is doing the work to get ahead of Harrow, who is obviously a step ahead of him. So he's shaking down guys, trying to find the right person that can and will take him to Harrow. And he sees Steven in his blade saying, don't do this, Mark. And that moment shifts in the first episode where he's not driving the truck. When Steven is driving the truck, he loses control, and all of a sudden he wakes up in a situation that he didn't get himself there. So it's opposite of the first one. Mark is having Steven take over from time to time and putting him in weird positions. I will note one time, and if I may say, this is most likely definitely a hint of a post-credit scene that I will not say. I'm not going to say anything else. Just all I'll say is there's a moment where all these guys are pretty much dead. And Mark thought Steven did it, and Steven said he didn't do it. Well, who did it then? I'll leave you with that. The stark contrast between Mark and Steven is really cool and unique, and it really makes me the question I usually want to ask when I think of a split personality, I want to know if really at the base level of things, there's somebody like Mark at the bottom of it. It's true, he is Mark. Steven is his later alter ego. But it seems in this show, and I'm pretty positive of this, I don't know, it seems in this show that different person inside of him is completely real. Steven is completely real. And I think we will learn about that in later episodes. So when they switch out, it's really happening. And it is a real example of what it would be like to have split personalities. And boy, does that sound stressful, having to be held accountable to someone else at a random beat and in a moment, especially in Mark's line of work. Instead of Mark turning to Steven, Steven turning to Mark in the first few, Mark turning to Steven just gets him in like stickier situations. He sees the guys he was beating up. Then the bad guys were like, you just let us go. And he chases him through the streets because it wasn't Mark who let him go, it was Steven. Just hinting that we need to see these two work together, and that's how they'll get things done. Steven needs to shape up a little bit. He does. He's smart. He's kind of the brains of the operation, so he's like becoming more and more needed. Mark definitely wants to punch his way. He's very Captain America-esque in that way. He wants to just punch his way through things, and that is also very cool for us as an audience when we get to see an actual Moon Knight fight scene. As far as we know, we see Mark working with Khonshu and Steven as well. It's funny how the issues lie between the two men sharing a body and not with one of them, with the god that's telling them what to do and leading them everywhere. But it all seems like they share a common goal of not letting Harrow release this god named Amit. Layla comes into the story. She intricately at the beginning of the episode gets a fake passport. I wonder if that'll come into play later, but it looked very legit. The thing I like about Layla in this episode and the series as a whole is she's just not like the superhero's girlfriend who needs saving. She totally is like an independent factor in all this. She's got a good head on her shoulders. Something I've written down like in my notes, Layla isn't just a partner, she's a window into Mark's hidden past. Is she someone Mark protects or someone he's failed? That is definitely in my outline, made by ChatGPT. Sometimes I will use that for an outline to help my thoughts stay organized. I'll definitely try to tell you if I'm reading from a line. I think I did one earlier too, if I'm being completely honest. But I have talked to ChatGPT. It can give me a script to read. And honestly, it wouldn't be stealing because it's free. And I wouldn't do that. It just, I have it give me talking points if you're interested, or so I don't sound like too much of a fake. I've only been using it for a little bit, a few months, but it helps me get things done. It helps me organize my ADHD in my mind, and just do the fun parts of the podcast. And that's kind of more of the highlight for me. Whereas before, the mental health wasn't so good. I wasn't able to keep up. A week to week of anything was really hard for me to dedicate myself to. So my downtime, aka the hiatus, I'm telling you guys this because if you're listening, you're like my podcast family. I'm not going to say you're like my real family. I have no idea who you are. I might. Maybe we will someday. But anyway, it's just good to have overcome a lot and to be back here. And I'm going to announce right here in the middle of the episode, I'll say it at the end too, that my Christmas gift to myself and to this podcast is we're going to be covering every episode of Marvel's What If Season 3, premiering day by day, starting the 22nd of December. We're going to go all 8 days for all 8 episodes, after show after after show. My Christmas gift to you and to me and to the podcast and to Marvel, Glory and Victory, it's going to be that What If after show, and over a week of it. We're going to be keeping up with it the best we can, the best I can. The holidays can be busy for anyone. I know I'll be able to squeeze those in because I was able to watch them last year. So we're going to do a recap of season 2 coming up this Friday. And then after that, not long after, on the 22nd, we're going to start covering season 3 day by day. It's the last season, supposedly, and I love What If. I covered the first season day by day the year it came out, back in 2021. And it was so much fun to cover. Takes you all over the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It reminds you you're in the multiverse saga. And I'm sad that it's getting canceled at season 3. I hope they bring it back later, maybe when the saga's concluded and they can do more versions of What If with the new characters and everything. But that's my ad for this episode. We don't have an official sponsor, so the ad is we'll see you this Christmas season quite a lot. So yeah, back in Moon Knight, episode 3, the friendly type. We get a lot of Harrow being one step ahead of Layla and Mark almost the full episode. And it's insane how often he shows up out of nowhere when there's like, I don't know, charging through a whole city. I'm not saying it's unbelievable. I'm saying this man has dedication. All this podcasting may have an effect on my voice. It already is somehow. This is great. This is what we need. More raspy voiced Mr. Honest on Marvel Maniac, an MC after show. But yeah, Harrow was accusing at one point, was hinting towards an accusation about Mark's involvement in her father's death. We don't get to that in this episode, but I'm sure we will. And what else does Harrow know that he can hold over Mark? The avatars of, I believe, Egypt, or of the entire Egyptian god lore, all come together and meet on this like council, the secret council. And man, the relationship that every one of these avatars has with their Egyptian god is so much more healthy than the one Mark and or Steven have with Khonshu. It's very different. Khonshu's just so unhinged, and he's already getting warnings when he's with this council, who completely, like, without a problem, take over their host because they're willing to, because they're serving their god, I guess. A lot of dedication there. Khonshu's just a loose hinge, and they give him a warning. If they do anything else like this, which he made the light sky an eclipse. He put an eclipse over Egypt. So that was just how he got the attention of this group. And this group was supposed to help them stop Harrow. They didn't believe it. And they summoned Harrow, and Harrow made Mark look so bad. And Khonshu kind of screwed that whole meeting up. The way that meeting went, and so not the way that Mark or even Khonshu wanted it to go. And they accuse Harrow of what he's doing, trying to summon Amit, an evil god that has been put away, where nobody knows the burial site, apparently. But I'm just going to jump to this, that Layla definitely has the burial site. It's a secret on another corpse in another place. So like they have to go into someone's tomb. One of these. I don't know who this guy was. They had to go in his tomb and get like the star alignment of the night 2,000 years ago that this map was made, and that will reveal the location of the tomb of Amit, which Harrow has already arrived. Basically, I don't know. We see him at the end of the episode being okay with the Council of the Gods. We see, because of this thing that Khonshu did with Moon Knight, one of the coolest things, and it was Steven as Moon Knight, so we get to see a little Mr. Knight where he turns the night sky back over and over. It kind of looks like they're Doctor Stranging it. I'm like doing it myself, and the sky, it's so kind of visually beautiful. And this whole episode, by the way, visually beautiful. I love the complexion. I love the daylight in the beginning and then the darker night themes. I really like the spinning of the sky, and that is the thing that's going to get Khonshu turned into a freaking stone statue. And he knew that because he said to Steven to tell Mark to free him. I wonder how Mark is actually seriously going to take that. To me, everything about Harrow is a really cool villain because he gets inside our characters' heads. He's a smart antagonist with a very specific goal, and he's got his eye on the prize the whole show thus far, and honestly going forward. The way he pleads the case to the other Avatar gods, he really puts it against Khonshu and Mark. He's really good with his words. And he also knows how to hurt Mark. He weaponizes guilt. Steven's guilt about their shared body, Mark's guilt about Layla. And Harrow doesn't really fight physically. He, like I said, he tears people apart emotionally. A lot of that is in this outline. What do you think about me using outlines? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. I like to say it makes me more genuine because I have a roadmap and don't forget certain aspects that like need to be talked about. Didn't save me last week from not talking about the end beat of him being in Egypt. But we take him as they come. I try to listen to every episode as it releases so I can up my game. There's a lot of self-reflection in this episode. I apologize. Honestly, throughout the whole series, if you go back and listen like to the first 50 episodes, they're not great. We're learning every single one to make a fun episode. And at the end of the day, I'm there through all of it. And if I'm fumbling my way through an episode or over-explaining something like I am now, signature, Mr. Honest, a.k.a. Eric. I want to be genuine to you. I'm genuinely telling you, my voice by the end of this what if marathon we're going to have is going to be non-existent. I'm going to sound really like Alec Baldwin. I didn't really talk about this point before Khonshu became a statue. Khonshu, sorry. The fight scene with Moon Knight is so good in this episode. I love seeing Moon Knight in action. He's so freaking cool. I didn't know his cape could dodge bullets. How? Is it magic? Is everything magic? I don't know, but I really like it. The idea that they're making a Moon Knight movie right now, it makes me happy and it makes me excited. So, yeah. Mark has to kick some butt, but then it turns into Steven. We get to see it happen in real time because the suit changes in real time. Steven is not a fighter. I would like to see him get some fighting in. I think he does eventually. In my mind, he's going to have to. I don't know exactly how, though. He seems like he's just your basic guy, but in the center of it all, like we said, is Mark, so he could probably draw from Mark's fighting expertise. That's my guess. So Khonshu and Moon Knight both turn the night sky to get the right star chart taken off of the tomb that was in the middle part of the episode. Harrow shows up at every corner, like I said. And when he's not with them, he's beating them to the punch. So they do get the location, but at the cost of losing Khonshu and, in effect, Moon Knight. So it's interesting how they're going to get him back. I don't know how. The show's still called Moon Knight, so we can all expect that he will be back. I love the Egyptian lore. I love all the nods to ancient Egypt, the tombs, the pyramids. I love the visuals of the show. I can't say that enough. We are about to go raid a tomb in the next episode, and we can expect lots of clashing of personality and secrets to maybe be unveiled, like the secret of Layla's dad. What's going on with that? We are yet to see. This was a really fun episode. It was fast, and it didn't feel like 40 minutes. It felt like 20. But the fight scenes sped everything up, too. Like the fight scene with Moon Knight, seeing him throw out his moons on his chest, that's a really cool move. I would really like to know if they magnetically come back or something. He's magic. I'd like to think he can maybe grow them again. I don't know. I don't know how, but I think it's cool. One last thing, I don't want to not mention the ending of the episode. I thought that Harrow walking up to Khonshu's statue and telling him, knowing he can hear him, he enjoyed doing killing on his behalf and thanks him in a sense, because if it weren't for him, he never would have become as wise. Or something. He says something like that. I consider Harrow an awesome villain, and like I said earlier in the episode, he's always one step ahead, literally, so he kind of can get even to feeling a little annoying watching our heroes keep getting one-upped by him, and it's not even in a superpower kind of way. He's just such a manipulative force, and he's got a little bit of magic in him, and that's all he needs. And that's all the major beats of this episode. Did I miss something completely entirely that you're like, Mr. Honest, what? You can email me, MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. I will get back to you, and it may be right on the show. If you don't want it on the show, just tell me, and I won't put it on the show. But yeah, I'm liking doing these shorter episodes because we all just watched it. It's just nice to get some good reactions and let some of the excitement out in here. So whether you're rewatching or just for the sake of it, listening to these after shows, thank you for being here. Episode 4 is titled The Tomb. And from what I remember, it's not a boring episode, but there's a lot of plot revealed in that episode. So I'm going to say it here and now. Next week, next Wednesday, we will not be covering Moon Knight. We're going to take a week off while we are doing the coverage of What If every day through the Christmas season. I'm sorry if that disappoints you. I don't believe I can make a worthwhile episode on Christmas, and I just don't think it's the kind of episode that goes along with Christmas. So no matter what the What If episode is, I will definitely be talking about Christmas and whatnot. And I want to savor Moon Knight because it's one of the greater Marvel shows. It's very popular, and I'm sure you as a listener, you wouldn't want it to sound rushed because that's just not enjoyable. So thank you for your understanding on that. Next Wednesday, no Moon Knight, all What If, and then the following Wednesday night we'll be back with our Moon Knight coverage full swing. So Merry Christmas. I love this time of year. It makes me feel so great. How about you? Rate the show, give it a thumbs up, and leave positive comments. If you have feedback, MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Always looking to improve. I want you to have a great week. I'll see you Friday for a recap of Marvel's What If Season 2. And then the 22nd on Monday, we are going to cover What If Season 3 for 8 days straight as its release. All right? So let's get our holiday sweaters on. Let's get all up, ready to suit up as Iron Man. I don't know what I'm talking about. Iron Man onesie. Yeah. And let's talk about the awesome stuff we love during the holidays. There's no better gift I could receive than being able to talk about my favorite thing every day. So I will leave you here. We'll talk to you next time. And until then, Avengers, disassemble.